There are times where even I'm shocked at just how bloody useless DJI is at customer service. And what I mean by this is they're actually really good. However, what is clear is DJI Forum is a complete wasteland and a complete waste of time even posting on. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the wasteland that is DJI Forum. We're going to be talking about the OpenIPC hardware, just a little bit on this because the video is coming probably tomorrow, but I have now got hardware. We're going to talk about... What else are we going to talk about? Making batteries. We're going to talk about Caddx, have a new product coming, and a couple of updates on a number of little things along the way as well. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Welcome to Juicy FPV. How are you? What a shambles. GMI. Hello, John W. Smags. Quam UM. Hello, hello, hello. Glenn Carter's here as well. Lambo Drive Zambo's here. What a name. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all good. Now, I've been out flying 3 times today. I think I've done 12, 14 packs, but it's only testing. The weather was phenomenally nice here today. A really lovely day, which means I could fly, but it was basic flight testing. This week, I finally got a new ESC for the wing, so I'm going to try for the 3rd time to get this wing in the air. I've got a new ESC that has arrived. I used the word flying loosely today, mind, because it was just very tentative to say the least. But yeah, it's nice that the weather is now turning. Now, the first subject we're going to talk about is this DJI nonsense, because for those who don't know, I put a post, we'll come back to that. I put a post on DJI Forum about the issues that I have highlighted with DJI O4RC and Express ELRS. And whilst I have said in my video, Express ELRS should resolve it, we do still have a problem that the DJI FPV remote goggles transmit all the time on 2.4 gigs. Now, I put in what I believe to be quite a detailed technical analysis for DJI in this that gives them all of the information that they ever need, including spectrum analysis plots, showing them the issue in detail. Now, when you go through this post, there's been a few replies from people, and DJI have ignored my post, largely, but they have then started to reply further down. Let me just find it. We'll get there now. After lots of people posting, DJI did reply. Here we go. Glamora. Hi to this person. This person had posted, please fix this, had a bad day, could not fly because of this. Hi there, thank you for reaching out. We do apologise for the trouble caused. Kindly inform us of the full details of the issue you are experiencing with the products. We will surely provide you with an accurate solution after we review the details. Rest assured we are committed to finding and providing the best experience for users. Now, I think this is a bot, right? And then again, DJI, could you fix this issue, please? Hi there, thanks for reaching out. Exactly the same. So I think this is some bloody AI bot. Then the person below has written, please see MadSec original post. The information is actually in the post. And then they've said, hi there, please could you share us a link with the original post? They are literally posting in the thread that has the information in. And what I laughed was, the person below said, the original post is the master post. But DJI are actually saying, rather than actually reading the actual post, they're asking for a link to it. Now, I think this is an AI bot, but I can tell you what it shows, and I spent some time looking at DJI Forum today, and the place has turned into a complete wasteland. It's just a waste of time. A complete waste of time. O4 Pro stays in low power mode. The person's posted. Oh no, where's one of the others I was reading? Not that one. Integrate battery overheated was one on the Integra. And it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But look, DJI, The answers to the questions are in the post. Read the post. Read the post. Please read the post. What you need is in the post. It's a shame, actually. To be fair, DJI Forum has always been a waste of time, if I'm honest with you. Generally, has always been a waste of time. But what can you do? I don't have anyone I can write to directly. Send it to frank.wang@dji.com. Perhaps it'll end up there. But yeah, just an absolute nightmare. Just... But anyways, there is no news on 04 or anything. Basically, DJI World is all quiet. A few more people have been sort of commenting on this issue. I'm not convinced everything I'm reading is this issue. It absolutely was affecting some people, but I'm not convinced everything I've seen is attributed down to this issue. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Now, really, that's all there is to say on DJI. It's as simple as that. We do, though, have a little bit of news from Caddx. And don't get too excited, because whilst that promised V2 system would be here by July last year, we do have potentially something else. And that something else is this, which is that there. Coming soon from Caddx. Now, someone has done the usual, let's jack the brightness up trick. And it looks like they're releasing another ready-to-fly quad. I have to say, the little Caddx quad they released the first time was quite good. But this looks more in the Defender series from iFlight. Probably a custom battery from the look of it. I'm not seeing anything DIY about this. I suspect this is related to whatever that other board was we saw. Probably a cheap unit. Caddx will be better off just making cameras for 04. They can't. No one can make cameras for 04. It really is just, I don't know. We don't really understand what this new thing is that's come in. The talk is some sort of Emax style equipment, you know, ready to fly drone. Someone asked, do I think they'll get certification for it? That is a very good point. Because bearing in mind, even today, we strongly believe that the Avatar HD system is not CE certified, and it's unlikely to be FCC. It's, yeah, I think we're going to have to just wait and see. And we'll have a look at what it is. I've not been contacted by them. I actually emailed Caddx last week just to say hi, and they didn't even reply. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on with them? But look, it looks very much in this sort of Neo Defender series and these others. It seems drone probably has a servo underneath. Specifically designed for the repeater. Yes. So, look, it's hard to be excited about it until we see what it is. That's the truth. We don't know what it is, but there are hints that there's something like a bind and fly coming. There is no news, though, on the infamous V2 system. Unfortunately. I saw an interesting post today, whilst we're talking about Caddx, on... it's quite interesting that someone was saying, why is Caddx so good at making cameras and DJI is terrible because of the low light? And there really is quite a big misunderstanding in the FPV industry about cameras, because someone said, why don't DJI use better sensors? DJI use some really good sensors in their cameras. It's just two different types of sensor, two different types of product. You have sensors which are designed for video and photography, and you have sensors specifically designed for low light applications, usually CCTV based. Most of the Starlight sensors are specifically designed for CCTV applications, and they're what Caddx are using in most of their FPV cameras. It's not that DJI doesn't make or doesn't use good sensors. They're using sensors that offer better filming quality, higher resolution, better color accuracy, whereas Caddx tend to lean on the CCTV based sensors, and a lot of FPV cameras lean on the CCTV based sensors. The Starlight ones, which offer low lux capability, hypersensitive, but what they don't have is the high resolution. DJI may use Sony sensors. DJI using Sony. All of DJI's cameras use Sony sensors, apart from the Micro Four Thirds that use a Panasonic sensor. DJI is still using Sony sensors in all their gear. Yeah, it's just different models. They're using a sensor that is designed for smartphones and cameras, not a sensor that is designed for CCTV applications. So that's just that's all the difference is. DJI's using plastic on the Neo, so remember I melted the lens. So the Neo, a lot of DJI's smaller consumer drones are using plastic. They used plastic in their lenses since about the Mavic Pro. Hello, Gary. It's just different sensors. So DJI don't want to make a low light camera. If they did, they'd release one. It's not that they can't, they just don't want to. It's as simple as that. So yeah, but I just saw an interesting post on it, and you know, it depends the kind of FPV you're into. Yeah, Starvis 2. Yeah, see the Starvis 2. Again, these are low light based sensors. Again, if you actually look under Sony, if you search for the Starvis, right, security camera image sensor technology, literally Sony stick it in the name of the sensors. Security camera image sensor technology, Starvis and Starvis 2. It is literally in the name of what they're for. They're for CCTV cameras. They're not for filming. Okay, they're going to give you a resolution image, but they don't have all of the benefits that the other cameras. Why do you think DJI don't want you? Because they probably don't care about you flying at night. They have no interest in supporting you flying at night. It's that simple. DJI's market is really... DJI work really quite simply. You know, you know, if you were having a conversation with DJI and say, yeah, but your cameras aren't good in low light. I want to be able to see in near darkness. And they just go, why? You shouldn't be flying a drone in near darkness. That's their attitude. It's quite black and white. Well, but why would you want to do that? Sorry, we're not interested in supporting that. We're not making products to do that. Sorry. Same as HDMI output. But why would you want HDMI output? We've got pro gear that you can spend $10,000 on that does that. That's why. Again, you have to get down to the crux of how it works. The Duagro drones are sometimes better to spray at night. Yeah, but the Angro drone might have a low light sensor because there's a purpose for that. There isn't a good reason anyone should be flying FPV at night. There are lots of bad reasons, but there aren't really many good reasons. Mm-hmm. I'll talk about the tariff stuff towards the end, because I will touch on the tariffs. So, look, that's where we're at on it. I don't know what it is. It looks like some ready to fly. We're just going to have to wait and see. So, this week, I have finally got in, and I'm not talking on this long because the video goes live tomorrow. I finally have the Runcam VRX, and I finally have a VTX. Now, I've been out flying this today. I ain't telling you much more about it than that. There is nearly a 1-hour video coming on this. I really like the quality on the hardware on the VRX externally. I haven't torn it down yet. I'm not tearing it down in tomorrow's video. I'm not doing any teardowns yet until later, because I don't want to tear the hardware down until I've had proper use on it. Okay? I just want to take away any excuses from people. I get this every video I get, right, where I do like a teardown in the video. Someone goes, oh, well, that's because you took it apart. Or, was it like that before you took it apart? And it's like, yes, the firmware issue was caused by me tearing it down. Or the fact the goggles booted to a black screen was caused by me tearing them down because it was a software bug. Am I doing the lens mod on an 04 light? I started, but that camera of mine is completely dead. I need to get another 04 light. But look, the hardware, I have the VRX. It's here. It's here. On the HD0 goggles. I have it mounted with a cable tie because I've run out of sticky pads. So, yeah, looking good. Comes with antennas as well. But, yeah, the video on that will probably be going live tomorrow. That'll be that one. The repeater video is still up. What happened to the repeater video? It's up. It's there. It's on the channel. No, I haven't used them on the Box Goggles Pro yet. I've used them on the standard HD0s. Proper review of the 04 system. I probably should start it now. Funny enough, I was thinking about it the other day. It's probably time. I was waiting to see if a firmware update dropped, and it hasn't. So I really do now need to just get that done. The PC build is finished. I was editing the first and second video of it today. That's going to be going on Patreon before the channel. So I am going to be uploading the somewhat build series of the thing. The PC's finished. It's over there in the corner running. It is an absolute beast of a machine. I have zero complaints with my choices. Intel. It is all of my complaints in Resolve have vanished with that machine. It is absolutely like lightning. Unbelievable, the difference. Yes, I found a 5080. They've just started to come into stock. Just started. I had to go NVIDIA for Resolve. I would love to have gone AMD, but I had to go NVIDIA. I didn't really have a choice. Resolve support for AMD is sketchy at best. It is absolutely, honestly, it is a dream. It is an absolute dream to edit with. What do I need such a big... You'd be surprised what video editing takes. 128 gigs of RAM as well. It is... I went for the 285K, 128 gigs of RAM, Gen 5 SSD, and a 5080. It is the most money I have ever spent on a computer, but my God, does it move. My God, does it move. And it's just, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And I'm upgrading from a 5900, I upgraded from a 5900X 3080 with 64 gigs of RAM. I record everything in 4K on purpose. Recording in 4K gives me a lot more options. I do not want to transcode. The main issue is I have no interest in transcoding. I want to be able to edit H.264 natively on the timeline without a jitter. I do not have time for transcoding. If I wanted to transcode, it would have solved all my problems on this machine. But I hate transcoding. Is not how I do not have time in my life to transcode and manage all of the hassle with transcoding. Quick sync. Yeah, honestly, Omar, it made a huge difference. Honestly, it is on another level to the 5900. H.264 overall, the hardware prefers H.264 natively. OBS still prefers to record in H.264. Yes, but you then have to deal with all... Yes, first of all, it's generate the proxies. Then you have to wait for it to generate the proxies. Then you have to deal with the aftermath of the proxies. It's not about just clicking generate. It's about the way I do my flow is I record and then I do that. I record and do that. I do not want to mess around with proxies. I have no interest in messing around. I want to be able to just go bang, bang, on the timeline, edit, move on with my life. And here's the irony. I used to be able to do that in Final Cut Pro. It was only when I moved back to PC I started to get issues with that. In Final Cut Pro on my Mac, it used to be almost as good. But yeah, look, I've tried going down the road of proxies or generating, transcoding, and an automatic. It never runs smoothly. It never deals with the proxies when I delete the project. There's always this hang up in the background of something with managing it. I have to swap the MIPI cable on no full light. Any suggestions how to safely get the cable off the camera? A bit of heat helps the glue. Heat will warm the glue and allow you to gently lift it off. Yes, so at the moment, the old rig is still what I'm streaming on. I've actually changed my plans. My original plans was to completely replace the old rig. And I was going to sell it. Then I realised how little I'd get for it. And I'm now at the conclusion of all of this setup is ran by the old rig, which is still doing the recording, the studio, everything. And the new machine is more than anything now become my editing and main using PC. And the last thing I bought for it this week... Let me go with the overhead. Okay. I tell you something, because I had to build a second machine. I bought myself a Keychron keyboard. If you haven't tried these are nice. For the money, the Keychron keyboard is really nice. K10, it is lovely for the cost. Honestly, really, really good. I have a Corsair here, K68, and it's shite. Never again am I buying a Corsair keyboard. A number of the Corsair keyboards I've had, the keycaps have failed. Yes, it's got RGB. A number of the keycaps have failed. And have you seen the price Corsair want for replacement keycaps? So yeah, simple as that on the PC stuff. Right, Richard A. Something I recently heard and would love to hear more about is how 04 Pro actually does better hard mounted and not soft mounting. Yeah, there is definitely evidence that 04 in general behaves better hard mounted than soft mounted. I don't think there's enough data out there to really confirm this. However, it is absolutely the case, especially on the light and in whoops, that hard mounting the camera seems to be better. Where I think things get murky is I don't think everyone is soft mounting when they think they are. And what I mean by this is this. TPU is not soft mounting. Only silicon is soft mounted. TPU is hard mounted. TPU is not removing any vibrations from your frame. If you look at Ross's design, and this isn't a criticism of Rossa, but this isn't soft mount. There is nothing about this that is soft. Let me just pop the antenna back in. That's fallen out. Overhead. There we go. This is not soft mount. That's TPU printed as soft as I could do it with the brackets on it for Ross's camera. And it's a nice setup, but that's hard mounted. That's just hard mounted. That's not soft. Soft would be a silicon insert like iFlight do. That is soft mounting. So I do think a lot of people confuse what soft mounting really is. And that's, I think, where we get a lot of problems. You know? This actually has worked quite well, and that's hard mounted. So, yeah, I do think, look, a lot of people are, there is a lot of talk that rigid mounting is it behaves better. All we can do is test. Definitely in whoops, it seems to be better. That camera's going to get destroyed in a crash. Yes. I just use a spider web of rubber bands. Yeah, frames have been a bit slower on 04. Someone said I'm sleeping on 04. Yeah, frames have definitely been slower on 04. We haven't seen as many frames come out for sure. Absolutely for sure. Thank you for the $10 super chat on that, Richard. I really do appreciate it. There's definitely something in it. There is definitely something in it. I just think... Oh, turn the head pillow upside down. Is it upside down? I fell off the other day. So why 04 Pro camera behave better than 04 Lite? Weight. Any more teardowns coming? There's not a lot to tear down at the moment. I don't have a lot in bits. Look, I'm not tearing this apart yet. I want to leave it untouched. It's not because I don't want to. There's not a lot to tear down at the moment. There's no products I've reviewed that I haven't ripped apart. Silicon causing more vibration. I don't know. I don't think it's caused. Look, there is something going on that we don't understand in 04. That's for sure. Because it ain't camera movement causing vibration. It might be some quirky filtering that DJI have got. Yeah, there isn't a lot I haven't torn down yet, so I can't really tear anything down that I haven't got. Have I been weirded the heavy gimbal that supports 04? Yeah, there's really nothing specific about 04 that could be supported. There is a adapter for the HAQAV gimbal. It's just an adapter for the camera. You could make an adapter to fit 04 onto any of the gimbals as long as you replace the cable. There's not a lot different, but yeah, the HAQ gimbal, I think they released like a replacement housing, didn't they? Yeah, here we go. There's an 04 version now, so the G port. This is a little big for most things. 03, 04, 04 Pro. Yeah, they've just released a housing. You could get the 04 camera onto all of them with a new housing. It just needs a bit of a mod. That's all. There's no internal dampening on the 04 Pro. The gyro's on the camera and it's hard mounted. So if I go to FPV Wiki, the 04 Pro camera has no soft mounting inside. There's nothing soft in there. If we go to 04 air units, and if we go all the way down to the cameras, so if we look at the back of the camera, that is the gyro on the back of the Pro. So it's hard mounted on the back of the camera. Could it be different weight and mass will definitely have an effect? Yes. I had Mega Jello with 04 Pro and SpeedyB Mario 5. My own CAD 3D print homemade silicon inserts. All Jello went away when I bought the CNC aluminium front end. Yeah, it's weird. There's definitely... It definitely seems to have a resonance that it doesn't like. It really, really does have a resonance it doesn't like. And that's for sure. Do I think Radio Master will come out with an updated Boxer with more switches and sliders? I don't know. Honestly, I think... You know, we haven't even seen a replacement TX16 for quite a long time. I don't know. Honestly, I think Radio Master is sitting at the top of the tree at the moment, and I don't think they're probably in any rush to do much. The GX12 was the last radio, which I think, you know, is a bit of a game changer in the sense of the new chipset, built-in CNC gimbals, fold-in, all the niceties. There was a lot of development in radios in 2 years, and I wonder if we've just pushed a bit far. I think we're probably going to see things a lot slower now. What do I think the best 20 Cinewoop compatible with 04? It's not really my bag. I do like the GEPs. The GEP RCs. I do like the GEP RC radios. Not radios. I've read radio. I was reading something and someone said it. Quads. I do like the GEPs. GEP RC do make some good quads. You've got a lot from Flywheel, like the Fly Lens series. Flywheel makes some good ones. I just always find everything from Flywheel a little bit half-baked at times. Everything at times just feels a bit fragile. You know, these are not solid quads at all. These are very delicate. The GEPs tend to be a bit more solid. I wasn't showing these. So you got these, the fly lenses. Which are okay. They're nice quads, the fly lenses. I think Gep tend to make a bit more of a solid quad. As does iFlight. So you've got a whole series from Gep. Quad Miller 25 has been great, very durable and smooth. Yeah. Yeah, Gep definitely makes some. Vilog 30, it's a nice quad. Definitely some nice quads. Look, there's a lot of good little quads out there. What you just got to be careful is they'll all break if you hit them hard enough. Second from Quad Moolah. Okay, not seen the Quad Moolah. Let's have a look. Not seen the Quad Moolah. So what are we looking at? DJI NN25. So accept. Not that. The DJI NN25. So are we talking this one here? That's not a pusher, mind. That's a proper quad, isn't it? Fair play. That's nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Oddity RC XI20 Pro. What's this? Let's have a look at this as well. ODTI TYRC XI20. Okay, looks interesting. Ducts look a bit more solid than you see on the fly lenses. I like that. Duct definitely looks better than on the fly lens. What I always find the fly lens is a little bit fragile. Yeah. I've always had that with the fly lens. I like that. That's a nice little frame. What's not to like about that? Really good. Cool, cool, cool. Right. Whilst I remember, I need to give you a bit of an update on something. I pushed out my review on this last week, and I'm going to be talking about batteries for this in a minute. The Cine ELRS. This came with 3D printed side panels. However, iFlight have put out a post saying that they are upgrading people to molded side panels moving forward. So one of the complaints that people had was that it was 3D printed. They are now doing injection molded panels. So that's good to see. Nice little upgrade. If you've already ordered January the 9th of March 2025, you can claim a free set of side panels. So if you've already bought it, you can get a free set of side panels. But that's cool to see. iFlight have also been banging out some more little quads as well. Now, I didn't know about any of these. They've done a Defender 20 Lite, Actually, let's just find the image. There it is. They've done a Defender 20 Lite for 04. I found the Defender series a little bit quirky. I'm not a big fan of these drones with their own batteries, and we're going to see the same from Caddx as well, probably. But look, they've created an 04 Lite version. The duct looks particularly thin. I would like it to have been a bit more rigid than that. But they've got new kits all out for that stuff as well. I've ordered that case. Big, and I'm just waiting for it to come from AliExpress. Which antennas do you recommend on the Box Pro to replace the standard ones? Look, pretty much anything from TrueRC will be good. So, look, if you want the stubbies, the same as I have on the HD0 goggles are worth a look. So these are the TrueRC stubbies available from HD0. Not HD0, from TrueRC. These are definitely worth a look. They're ideal because they're stubbies. Someone just said, I never see you looking at Superfly frames. There are thousands of frames out there. I can't even keep up with all of the frames. There are a bunch of guys on my Discord who are big fans of the Superfly frames. I've not ordered one. I've not been sent one, and I've not ordered one. I don't really order in frames to review anymore. There are just too many. Unless I personally see something incredibly interested in. I know there are guys on my Discord who love the Sync Mode version 2. They say it is a phenomenal frame. They love it. I can't comment. It's definitely an interesting frame. It's a beast of a frame on that front end. If you look at that front end, it's pretty solid. Fair play. It is a phenomenally nice looking frame. That's for sure. Especially with all the colours. But I don't look. It's hard for me to order in frames. You know, there are lots of frames on the market. I really do like looking at frames. But I don't. There are. If I wanted to order a frame to look at, I'll order it in, and I'll probably, if it's really interesting, I do. But other than that, I'm lucky in the sense of I have a lot of frames now, and I'm not particularly fussy. I really like short stubby frames. I really do. You know, I never ordered in the Demibot. I was going to do a review on the Demibot. But I just never got around to it. What am I going to say? Oh, look, it's a great solid frame. There's no one who can test the Demibot better than Bot Grinder. You know, I am more than happy. I don't really review frames. I talk about frames when they come in. I don't give them a review. You can't, you know, a review of a frame is hard. You showcase a frame. Here's a frame. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it does. I think it's quite nice, or I like this, or I don't like that. That's what you do with a frame. It's hard. You're not reviewing a frame as such. You're more showcasing it. There are thousands of frames as well. You know, you'll never cover everyone. You just cannot cover everyone. Right, guys, if you've got any questions, put it in the chat below. This week, I took this delivery. Now, let me go to the overhead. I received a delivery of batteries that I'd ordered. me get rid of the Monster Munch. These are P50Bs. Big cells. Oh, yes. Yes, and we're going to be making some batteries. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I made a little bit of an error. I didn't quite mean to order this many. I wasn't looking what I did when I paid for them, and I was like, oh, all right, we're building some packs. But yes, I have ordered in a big selection of P50Bs, which is 5,000, well, 4,800 amp hour, 4.8, 3.6s. They are big 21700 cells. But yes, we're going to be making some batteries. Now, they look smaller in the pic. They did. Now, I have ordered in a welder. Yeah, I know they're £4 each. They're £5 each. I meant to order something like 26 and I ordered 38. That was where I made a mistake. I was meant to order 2 packs worth plus 2 spares, and I ended up at 38, and I still don't quite know how I did that. And that's the dangers of PayPal at times, because PayPal doesn't always show you exactly the same as what you were paying. Yes, I made a mistake, but they will get used. So I've ordered in a welder, and I've gone for the K-Weld kit. Now, I did look a lot through the AliExpress reviews. I did look a lot through things. If I do this, I want to do it properly. I've always wanted a welder. I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But yes, I've ordered in the K-Weld kit. So I'm going to do a video on the K-Weld kit and then a video on the batteries. I've also been messing with designs. Welding versus soldering video, yes. I've got in good iron shit equals shitty welder. Tiny spot welder. So these are, the K-Weld is deemed one of the better ones out there, especially compared to many of the other brands on the market. Very not cheap, but it is a very good piece of kit. Material they're going to be connected with is this, which is pure nickel on strips, on rolls of 10 meters. And this is pure nickel. I've got 0.15 and I think 0.2. Yeah, I went for the pure nickel, not the stainless steel, nickel coated. So, yeah, that came in today, in fact, this came. My plan is to build... I'm not pulling that much power. Welding will be fine on this. I'm planning to build basically... 6S 9,000 milliamp hour pack, basically, which is 6S 2P. I want to basically replicate the iFlight pack with one of them, which is going to be 6S 2P. No, I haven't tested this yet. This didn't come from AliExpress. This came from another place. But they have said it's pure nickel. I haven't confirmed. For the Cine, yes, 6S 2P for the 7-inch. For this. Now, my plan is to lay it out pretty much, I got 0.5 and 0.2 there. My plan is to pretty much lay it out like the iFlight pack, which is this. Yeah, I think they're about 72 grams a cell. And then it'll be double the height. Obviously, you're going to have a bit more size in it than that. But we're going to be then double the height of that. Is the plan. So then you're going to be obviously... Which is... You're probably going to be about that big there. By the time you put some spacing in. I haven't quite figured out the design on this yet. I don't really want to do it vertically. I think that is a very tall pack to put on a quad. The weight of a pack like that is difficult on a quad. So one of the leads will be longer, correct? Yes. One of the leads will be longer. I think when you run like that, that is a very tall pack to run on a quad. That is quite... That worries me from a weight-wise when you're putting a quad there. From a width perspective, how are we looking? Let's have a look. I haven't actually done this yet. So from a width perspective, we're not too bad. I guess we're not too bad like that. I need to undo the strap. Let's undo the strap out the way. I guess that's not terrible. I thought that was going to be worse than that. That isn't... Obviously, it's going to be twice the height. But that isn't shocking. Spot welding is also safer than soldering on a pack. Putting that much heat in, putting heat into the battery is not ideal. Putting heat in is not ideal. Spot weld is safer across the board. What about 2 rows, 3 layers high? Yes, they're moly cells. But that's not shocking, I'll be honest. 3 times 2 is the way forward. Which way do you mean with 3 times 2, James? Are you talking that way? You're talking that way then, are you, James? I'm guessing. Oh, you're not seeing, are you? Overhead. Sorry, are you talking that way? Which is how I was going to do it. 3 and 3, 3, yeah. Yes, which is my plan with how I was going to build it. Yeah, which is the way the iFlight is. That's how the iFlight battery is made. Because if you start going that way, it's the only way that's clean. Stack them 3, then 3. Yes, so you'd be 3... then 3, yeah. But to be fair, but vertical, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. So you're going 3 vertical, yeah. It's it gets hard to figure out. It isn't terrible though, side on. If you actually did him that way, it isn't shocking. Make a triangle, 3, 2, top, one on top. Yes. Have I considered buying R-line packs? Are they even available in the UK? Here's the big problem. Finding lithium-ion packs in the UK is close to impossible. Getting batteries over here is not easy. Not easy at all. AUILINE. AUILINE. PB50s. Yes, I went all out on the PB50s. I will be doing a pack building tutorial on it. Yes. I have already designed inserts, which I'm going to make this as a long one to give the pack some rigidity. So what I have actually designed as well. Now this is a modular insert. This is a modular insert where they come in sections, but I'm building a big version as a spine for holding the batteries in the right capacity. So this, for instance, allows me, I've created a spine that basically allows me to build the batteries around this spine in 3 packs of 3. So if I show you there, you can see on this side of the battery, you've got 3 and 3. And then on that side will be 3. So that's one side of the battery there. And then there's 3 more, well, 9 more that goes on the other side. So I'll be uploading this to Thingiverse once it's done. But the idea of this is to create a spine. I might even 3D print it in PLA Aero to keep the weight down even more. Although the weight is quite low on it already. But the idea of this is to have a rigid spine. It's not at the moment because it's available in pieces. But the idea of it is 6S1 parallel. It's only 50. I was going for 8,000, James. I might do one as 6S1 parallel. But yeah. So I'm going to create that as a spine that goes around it. But I made it modular. See, these are hollow all the way down as well, so wires can go down these. So wire can go all the way down that. So what my plan is to make a spine. Those are the 4008s, James. Yeah. So I'll make it a bit longer than that, but the idea will give it rigidity. And then allows me to build the battery around it. You know, this was the first test print that I created for it. I just did a quick test print as a design. So the idea then is to be able to build, if I just do that, you guys can see a battery around to build myself. This one was a little bit small. It didn't quite. Just soldered and shrink wrapped, yeah. So the idea really is just to have something in the middle to sort of give a bit of rigidity to the pack. It does add a little bit more. Yeah, I'll probably build one 6S, one. Well, I've got enough batteries to build a few. That's the good thing. But yeah, that's the plan so far. that's what we're looking like. I just drop that in. There you go. You can see that's and then that'll all be shrink wrapped up. Obviously one wire is going to have to come up from the bottom. There's no other way to do it. You're going to have one up from the bottom, because you're going to have to go one up, down, up, down, up, down. You're going to have one come up from the bottom. There's no other way of doing it, but there's space down there for that. Wrapping wool, keep them warm. What I don't know yet is I've not built lithium ions before. I'm assuming, and this is my assumption, because I've been thinking about this, if I go to the overhead, when it comes to welding 2 packs together for here, what I'm going to assume is you will weld from there to there, there to there, and fold it in half. That's my assumption, is how I would do that. That's how in my head I would do it. You would tag, 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 tag. And then fold it in half. Is my thought on what you would do. So you would then build you'd build a bunch of them like that. So you'd do a bunch of them in that order. That way. Yeah, so you go there, there, there. You can fold them all up, and then you're able to do the joints on the tops and the bottoms then afterwards. That's how they do it inside the laptop tool packs, just fold. Yeah, that was my thoughts. I've got 0.2 and 0.1. Bending creates weak spots, though. Yeah, but look, the current here isn't silly. We're only talking worst 25, 30 amp. Have you seen inside a LiPo? Pre-tag them again. Would you, yeah, and something I've been thinking about is, would you weld, and then weld another piece on top of the welded ones? I have seen people talk about welding with nickel and copper. I've seen people talk about welding with double nickel. Obviously, you're not going to go through twice at the one time, because the welders won't do it. But I'm guessing when people say they weld it twice, you weld the one tag on, and then you weld another tag onto the top tag. I nickel with 5 spots. Yeah, that makes sense, James. Do you double nickel, or do you just single nickel? Copper nickel sandwiches. Single always. Yeah, look, I've read a lot of people saying, oh, I would find it hard to believe you're going to burn through a strip of nickel that thick. You'll have sag, especially swinging larger props. Yeah, you don't build it for... You know, I would find it hard to believe you're going to... So that's the 0.5, 8mm. That must be the 2.0. Thickness. Just get copper nickel buzz bar, yeah. Why don't they call him double nickel diamond? Yeah. I'd find it hard to believe you're going to burn through that strip. Anyone know an easy way to check if it's real nickel? It's got the colour, but... But yeah, I want to be careful that doesn't spring out. Pre-test on an old battery. But yeah, I'll probably do the 1p first. Nickel has 4 times higher resistance than copper. I would suggest use copper strips with high temp soldering iron. I am not soldering lithium ions. I have no interest in soldering lithium ions. I really do not want to solder lithium ions. Putting heat near the top or the bottom of the battery is not ideal in my head. I do not fancy blowing up a battery. You're going to need a lot of watts to heat up an anode. Yeah, it's... I would find it hard to... I do think there's a lot of overdoing you. Take that iFlight quad. It pulls 25, 30 amp at times. 40 amp, 25, 30, 35, 40 amp at times. Most of the time you're pulling 10 amp. You have to hit it and quiet and cool. Yeah, you just have to keep them in water. IPA, solder them in IPA. But yeah, we've got the nickel, we've got the batteries. I'll probably start with a 6S1P. I'll start with the 6S1P. That means I've got to modify my spine for a 6S1P. So we'll start with that. Put them in the freezer before super. I put... So how would you do 6S1P? Would we do the triangle? Is that how people do 6S1P? Do we do the triangle? Is that it? Is that what we're doing? No, 3-2. Okay. So you're just doing that. Yeah, obviously the order. I'm not putting them in order here on purpose. I'm just putting the batteries together. Just a brick like that then. Because in some ways I thought that would be easier to hold on the quad. I would have thought that would have been easier on the quad, would it not? That's my thoughts. That would be easier to strap down. Surely. Stack them 3-2. Oh, you're talking that way. In maths, triangle is always best. Oh, you do them like that. So what are you mounting that? Vertically on the quad, on the 2 on the bottom. So you're mounting that base to the quad. That seems awfully high on the quad, does it not? I would... Or would you go flat on the quad? Yeah, that's that. You see, in my head, that is cleaner. Otherwise, the pressure pushes the top battery down. Depends on the clearances. Yeah, look, in my head, that's a tidier build. Paint to wire. Yeah, probably is. So what you're saying is 3 and 3. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, blah, 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 blah. And then what are you mounting it? 2 onto the quad or the 3 onto the quad? So which side are you mounted 3 onto the quad? Yeah, like that then. So you're mounting it onto the top of the quad like that. So you just have a single large battery in the middle then. Yeah, okay. Interesting. I guess if you do it that way as well, you're basically always using the same size shrink wrap. What size shrink wrap are you using, James? Do you know? I'm intrigued now. What size? Because I've been doing the shrink wrap calculation, and I think I've worked it out. You can do it however you like, Ian. Yes, that is the good news. I think I've worked it out. 130 mil if I recall. Because I worked it out as the width should be, according to the website I was reading, the width should be the width of the cells plus 10 mil. So if your cells are they're 21 wide, okay, so 21, so that's 60, that's 80, 81 with a 71, but that doesn't seem right in my head. So it depends on the configuration. Yeah, I know. I need to figure out again how big you would need heat shrink, because it's a lot cheaper on AliExpress. So I need to order it from Ali. But yeah, on that configuration there, wrong button, what is gonna be the right size of sheet wrap? Because I'm a bit confused on this. Insulation tape is dead. Because if you think about it, that is what? Yeah, 60, 63, 64 wide. But you're going to want, it's always hard to figure out, isn't it? What size you're going to want to cover. Depends what brand. I used 105 mil. Yeah, I guess it does depend the brand. Yeah, I guess it does. So we're going to go up, down, up, down, up. Which way do you always wire this? Isn't it 2-to-1 for shrinking? It could be. Use a zip tie and measure the string. Yeah, up, down, up, down. So do you always end up with a bottom on it, James? And you come up from the bottom, yeah? I'm assuming. So you're going up, down, up, down, up, down. So you go, wait a minute. You start at the bottom here. Up. So that's negative. Up, down, up, down, up, down. No, you're going to come both at the bottom. Sorry. Because you're going to be that, aren't you? So we're going to be there. So you're going to start down there and end there. Or start here, whichever way around it goes. Flip the mid cells. Flip the mid cells. Do not flip. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I need to get balance leads as well. That's something I need to order, is balance cables. I haven't come up with balance cables yet. Well, I got enough batteries to make a few size packs, so yes. So balance cables, I need to get really long ones. Yeah, I need to find silicone ones. A lot of the ones I've bought before, like those balance extension cables, have always been quite stiff. Plastic coated rather than silicone wire. I want to find some silicone wire ones. Ah, do they? Unmanned Tech has silicone ones. Do they? That's good to know. That's good to know. So was someone saying that 2-to-1 on the width? It could be 2-to-1. That would make sense. So you're talking 120mm for 60. That would make sense. Oh, someone got silicon ones from Temu. Okay. I'm guessing they were balance extension cables people used. Was it? Can't find them. Helps if I spell extension right. Or just get crimp connectors and silicon wire. Yes, that is the option. I have found my vernier. Someone said Temu had balance cables. South Downs FPV. You are right, mate. The website is not nice at all. Now, I 100% agree with you. Honestly. Well, at the moment, I'm not seeing any balance cables. Power battery accessories? God knows. Yeah, avoid Temu at all cost. Let's try AliExpress. Don't know what they're calling them. Here we go. 6S. I need to order from AliExpress. Yeah, some of the ones I got last time were really hard plastic. They weren't really good. What lengths we got here then? That looks quite hard wire. 5S, 6S, 7 wire. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Anyone know on what they're called on Unmanned? Because I can't even find them. I'm searching for... Oh, it's not. Oh, God. Balance, not double L. Single L. Aha! Balance leads. These, is it? 6S 7 pin. How long are these? Out of stock. Yeah, I'll have to have a look through AliExpress. We'll have to figure it through Ali. So I need to find some. Select a size option. 6S 7 pin. we'll end up going on Ali. I think we just need to find the right ones on AliExpress. 6S. We just need to find the right ones on AliExpress with nice silicon wire. Oh, someone's just shared some with me. Let's have a look. Ah, there we go. They're quite short, but yeah. I'll have a search through. Make your own. Yeah, I can see me ending up making my own. If I can't find anything ideal. Silicon. Not seeing much. Oh, someone sent me an AliExpress on Discord as well. We got some. Where did you send it on Discord? Live chat. Found it. There we go. Ah, there we go. Look. 5-pack 6S. 78p. How long are they? They look quite short. And snip them. Yeah, look. I got a couple here. They were just really hard. That's the ones I didn't like. So, look. That's the plan. That's what we're going to be doing on the batteries. We have the batteries, 38 cells. So I've got enough for that. That video is going to be a couple of weeks out. I have printed the case for it already. I 3D printed the case for the K-Weld in polycarb, I will add. White polycarbonate. Yesterday. It's very hard to show you because it's very white. This was done on the X1 Carbon. I updated all the firmware on my X1 yesterday and printed this in polycarb. Let me turn that down a bit. There you go, you can see now. So, had to print this a bit weird because the design, right? I had to print it like that because this has bits that stick out for locating, which means I couldn't print it flat on the bed. Or if I did print it flat on the bed, I'd have to add supports to hold it all the way up. So I ended up printing this vertically and this horizontally like that. Yeah. So that's printed though in polycarb. I wanted something a bit more hard wearing. That's on the X1, that is. That came out really nicely on the X1. The only place that's a bit rough is just down there. There was support there and support there. And then that's the bottom. So I've now got the case ready for the K-Weld for when that arrives. So that'll go together like this. And then screw it together. And then I need to print some TPU feet for it as well. And then that'll be the box for the K-Weld. But yeah, that's pretty much ready to rock and roll, which is good. Come out, it's the first time I've printed polycarb in a very long time. I dried the spool for 2 days to get that. But yeah, I updated all the firmware on my X1 Carbon. And today I did something. I had an accessory order in from Bamboo. Where did that go? And I ordered for the, and I've been meaning to order this for a while actually. But whilst I was ordering from them, I ordered a 0.2 nozzle for the A1 Mini because I haven't. Don't know yet, KP. I haven't figured that part out yet. Where's it gone? I ordered a 0.2 because the A1 Mini is meant to be incredibly good on 0.2. I have a big lead acid I intend to use. Here it is. And I printed this in 0.2 at the maximum quality setting. Now, it isn't as perfect as I would like, but basically the layer lines are non-existent. This is quite old filament as well. It's not new. It's a little rough on the top surface. You can see some... It's just because of what it's like. This is on the Mini. Yeah, this is on the A1 Mini. It has come out incredibly well. 0.2 at 0.06, I think it was. Layer height. It's insane, the layer height I printed this in. Just to get in, if I... This is a test print. This is a clearance test print. But yeah, the layer height on this is just bonkers. Just bonkers. But yeah, this is a clearance test tool. But the top layer, about 2.5 hours. Top layer just, it's dragging the nozzle a little, is what you can see. It's just not quite perfect. But I haven't done a full set of calibrations. But yeah. I am going to print some miniatures and see how it comes out, because apparently it does miniatures very, very well. The bottom layer is perfect. Top layer is very difficult. Yeah, and it will be at that layer height as well. It's going to be difficult at 0.02 because there's just no space there. So yeah, I had a big order in from Bamboo, I just wanted to order a 0.2 nozzle for it because I've never tried it on 0.2. I ordered a few spare nozzles for the other printers as well and a bunch of filament. Looks like a motorcycle gear. Yeah, no, that is a clearance test print. So for those who haven't seen this, you can download this. And this is to tell you how accurate the printer is on clearance test. So when you print this, that's loose, that's loose, that's loose, that is stuck. So it hasn't put clearance at 0.15 or 0.1. Those two are stuck. So it's a clearance test print is what it is. That will unstick if I move it. You can see it now. I've moved it. It's not bound. But yeah, the idea is just to test the clearance on a print. That's all that's for. But yeah, so I've ordered that. That'll come. In the H2D, is there a way to use two extruders with different size nozzles, i.e. 0.2 for surface heat and 0.4 for infill? Right. I did read something on this, and I can't remember what it was. You can use different size nozzles. I'm sure you can, but there's a quirk. And I can't remember what the quirk was. Someone did... I have seen a post on this, and I can't remember what it was. I saw it on Facebook. Someone did... Let me just read what was said. Wait there. Not this time. No, it says officially not at this time. The problem is the slicer at the moment. The slicer for the slicer to be able to do it. That's the problem. The hardware could do it, but the slicer's the issue. So no, they've got to be the same size. This is the new H2D with the dual nozzles. I did see a really cool mod for the H2D today as well. For those who are considering the H2D, there's a mod for... The filament side of it for TPU is a bit complicated, partly because they've moved the 2 buffers internally. And the issue is that you have to undo the tube from there and put it into somewhere else. But someone today has created a really cool print. I saw this on Facebook. And this, basically, you install a third TPU. It'll come to me in a second. You install a PTFE tube. You install a third one into the printer, and there's a holder to hold it on the top. So you leave a third one in place and just swap it at the nozzle, is what you do, rather than swap it at the buffer at the back. I'll tell you about that soon. Where is it? Let me just find it. Someone put this up, and it's quite cool. Still haven't found it. Why is it a post you've looked at seems to vanish when you go to look at it on Facebook? What is it about Facebook that it seems to actually intentionally hide something that you've already seen? So if you want to go looking for it later, it doesn't want to show it to you. Instead, what it wants to do is go, no. I don't want to show you what you've looked at already. I want to show you what you freaking haven't seen. Every time. Every freaking time. That used to be an actual program thing on Insta. I still think Facebook are doing it. If I don't find it in 2 minutes, I'll give up. See, it's vanished. I know where I can find it. It's on Make a World. Honestly, you find something and you want to see it for later. 2 seconds. Let me just find this. Make a World. Online. Oh, bugger off. Bugger off. Online models. So if we go to here, go to the... Oh my god, that's Discord. I don't want Discord. I want Make a World. Give me Make a World. Thank you. H2D. If we search for the H2D, it should come up. H2D PTFE. Hey! Here's the one I saw, but it now looks like already a bunch of people have made copies. This was the one I saw. So this allows you to hold a spare PTFE tube on top of the extruder. So rather than swapping back and forth all of the time at the buffer end, you leave the third piece of PTFE in, and then you just pop it out and pop it into the extruder. What I would probably do, though, is somewhere like here, have a joint and have it join in. Rather, because today what you've got to do is unbuffer that from there and put it out of that hole there. And they actually show you that on the instructions there, because there's a separate feed path for it. But I'll tell you in a week. Actually, I did post a link in Discord. Yes, that's a good point. Off topic, do I foresee DJI adding support for the motion controller to the O4 ear unit? No, never. No, won't happen. motion controller requires... The motion controller is not a control. It's a controller, but it requires the FC to interpret the data. All the motion controller from DJI does is send raw gyro data. It's not a controller as such. It's a Wiimote. And as such, it's basically sending raw data. Betaflight would have to be completely... redone to do it. So no, I don't ever see DJI supporting the motion controller. Yeah, you'd have to get it right in the software in the muzzle. Yeah, having the two different. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Scotty. Thank you for that. Right, guys, any questions? Now's the time to put them in the chat. I think I've covered everything that I was going to talk about this week. Let me just check. We've gone through Instagram. We've gone through Runcam. Was there anything in the dock? Have I printed a lens mount? Yes, I did print a lens mount. It's here for the 04 Pro camera, but it stopped working. The actual camera's failed. I think I overheated it. Ah, tariffs, yes. So I 3D printed this. I did this on the P1. Be good to do this on a 0.2 nozzle. This is on a 0.4. And this was just the lens I had. Don't forget to get some 21700 gaskets. But yeah, I did print that, but unfortunately it's not playing ball now. 21700 gaskets. Do you mean not gadgets? What do you mean by gaskets? Do you mean the little round things, the isolators? Yeah. I was going to say, I'm not sure they're 100% needed, are they, for this? I could print TPU ones. If you're at 250 Hz on ExpressRS and swap the controller to 50 Hz, what's the downfall by not updating the quad? When you say not updating the quad, do you mean not changing the Betaflight preset? Is that what you mean? Yes. Filtering isn't ideal. But I don't really notice it. I tell you what is interesting about that is, I tell you who did notice it was Evan Turner when he flew that 04 in the race mode. He spotted it instantly. I don't know if most pilots will. Evan Turner spotted it instantly when he did that video. That was probably one of the more impressive things I'd seen. He knew something was off. He knew something was off. But yeah, look, filtering's not ideal. Responsiveness isn't ideal as a result of the filtering. Look, if you don't notice anything wrong with it, don't worry about it. Where'd you land when flying for a car? Roof, bonnet, or road? Always road. I'd never land on a vehicle. Or the hedge. I'd always land on the road. Just don't sit the iron there all day. Yeah, fall asleep with the iron on top of the cell. That's the funny thing with batteries and charging and everything. There's always a lot of opinions. That's quite funny when I did the battery video. My God. Tell you this. When I put out that video on... when I put out the video on the chargers and I said, do not balance charge. Oh my God, did I get some kickback. Honestly. What people have to understand is this. If you've balance charged all your life and you know what you're doing, then great. That's fine. I'm really pleased it's worked out for you. I'm really pleased nothing has happened. I really hope nothing ever will happen. Here's the truth. It increases the risk of something going bad, parallel charging, dramatically. I don't care how many safety checks you do, it increases the risk dramatically. Now, does that mean you will have a fire? No. Does it mean it will go wrong for you? No. But it increases the risk. I can't, though, as a content creator, sit here and happily recommend you do it. If you want to do it, that's fine. But I am never going to recommend. I would never recommend you balance charge. I will never do it. I think the boards should be killed. There is no safe balance board. I don't care how many fuses it's got. I don't care how much protection it's got. A fuse in the board is not going to stop the battery once it's let go. Once it's gone, the fuse will cut it off. Balance charging. Parallel charging. Yeah, parallel charging boards. When I mentioned in that video about parallel charging boards, I got lots of people saying this, that. A fuse is not going to stop the battery once it's gone. It's gone, it's gone. All the fuse is going to do is cut it off from the other packs, but that's too late at that point. The number one risk is not you forgetting to check. The number one risk is one cell going south in charge that's masked by the other cells. Because remember, you're linking all of the cells in parallel. One cell being at 4.3 volt is masked by 4 other cells being at 4.1 volt. It drags the average down. It will cause a problem. I would never recommend it. I will never put my name to it. I will never sell a board. I don't do selling of FPV products. I've discussed that before. I get people want to do it. I get people might feel it's thing. And look, someone said, yeah, advice, do it outdoors. I just don't even want to go there. Because what if it sets the neighbours out? Look, there's too much risk. There's too much. I know every battery that we talk about, 6S2P, it's a parallel battery. We know this stuff. But parallel charging just brings, yeah, but how would that cell get to there? Oh, it absolutely happens. Don't think for 1 minute a cell won't go out of balance and overcharge. If you don't keep an eye on it, one cell can easily overcharge compared to the others in parallel. Easily. Especially if it has lower internal resistance. Because remember, if the cell has lower internal resistance, it's going to draw more current. So, if in charge the internal resistance moves, anything can happen. Because remember, charge current is based on internal resistance, based on what you're allowing the charger to provide. But the internal resistance of the cell is what's going to drive how much current it draws. So if one cell moves, anything can happen. Why do you think big batteries go up? It happens. The only way you could really protect this is if you had fuses on the cells themselves. And like they do in like the big EV car batteries. They'll actually have a fusible link on the cells to be able to take them out of the... It's just, I will never... There is too much risk, especially... And this is the bit people don't take into account. Parallel charging straight after a flight. Again, resting a LiPo is incredibly important. I don't think people really understand how important resting a LiPo is before recharging. Honestly. The difference... Yeah, but the fuses on the board are not on the cells. The fuses are on the board. That's not safe. It's nothing to do with JB. I just will never recommend a parallel charging board. But resting, you will be shocked how much a cell will move if you between resting and straight after. The only acceptable parallel charge is one that has separate charging circuits. Look, the key here is you need to be able to monitor the cell outside of the pack that it becomes. And that's just not possible to do. What you actually need, here is the only way. I actually thought of a design for a parallel charging, not board, but circuit. And the only way you could really do this to the safest way to make sure as much as you could is you would have to design a board that periodically in the charge would cut off the balance ports from the pack. Because remember, and I say the pack, the group, and then measure the balances after resting. So what you'd have to do is bulk charge, then disconnect the balances, measure the voltages once rested, and then reconnect the balances. The whole hassle of doing all of this, you may as well just have 6 independent charge circuits where they're never linked. And that's the problem. Just buy more batteries. Yeah. And I did get a lot of the kickback from people saying, yeah, but it's all right when you don't have to pay for chargers. I've bought all my chargers. Look, I'm not being funny, right? If you have to spend $300 on chargers and keep your property, I think I know which one I'd do. I would rate half an hour each. 20 minutes to half an hour was always my rule. A LiPo needs to settle for 20 minutes to half an hour. It needs to cool down. It needs enough time to cool. At least room temp, yeah. They need 20 minutes to calm down. A minimum of 20. Right, the last thing I want to talk about is tariffs. So obviously, yes, things have kicked off. How will it affect FPV? The truth is we don't know. Truth is we don't even know if the tariffs are going to be here tomorrow with the Oompa Loompa in charge. We just don't know. The truth is, everything might go up, very little might change. What I don't think this is going to be a mass push for any US-based production. I don't buy much US-based products anymore anyway, so I'm not affected by this. I've moved away from iPhones. I don't really buy, and it's nothing against US. I love you people over there. You are my fans. You are my patrons. But there really just isn't anything I need from the States. That's just how it is. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. The truth is, we're going to have to wait and see. It's going to hit consumer drones. Yeah. I don't really spend... Well, NVIDIA is one I've probably spent with, but I've just got in, so I'm all right on that. Intel. It shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't be. DJI will probably put their prices up. But what can you do? At the end of the day, what can anyone do? Overall, I hope everyone tariffs the hell back and taxes the crap out of Apple, Google, Microsoft, and everyone else. Look, I think if you're going to play silly games, you get silly prizes. And my honest opinion is, I think we should tax the crap out of everything back. And hopefully some sense may kick in at some point. Today, it's bullying. There's no other word. Come on, we all know it. It's bullying. It's that there's no other term for it. That's the truth. So let's just wait and see what happens. There aren't really many. The point is, no one's tariffing US products. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. There's tax on all products in the UK. The American-made products was no different. That includes Apple, Microsoft. There's tax, but there's tax on everything, not just US-based products. It's this perception of there were tariffs against the US already. It's nonsense. I'm taxed on any product I import into the UK from any country now. You know, I have to pay VAT and I have to pay import duty, but I pay import duty on if it comes from the US. I pay import duty if it comes from China. I pay import duty on everything. Is it a tariff? Maybe, but it's always been there, and it's not, you know, it's no different. You know, if you're going to go down the road of, well, okay, why don't European people buy American cars? Because they're not suitable for the European market. If America, you know, America had the biggest car company in the world at one point, which was Ford, and they lost it because Ford stopped catering for the market. The Germans basically took over in Europe, and that's what happened, and that's how it is. Ford used to be basically a British brand, yet it faded into obscurity. That's got nothing to do with tariffs. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's Ford lost their way. You don't see American cars on British roads. It's because they're not suitable for British roads. They're too big. The engine sizes are insane. You fucking lot with your 3 litres and all of this. You know, most of our stuff's 1 and 1.5 litre. It's... If you want to make America great again, it's really simple. Be good people. Don't do bad things. That stands for everyone, by the way. You know, be kind to thy neighbour. The old term that used to be. Not shout over the fence that he's ripping you off and you're going to put a tax on his every time he uses his driveway, and if he retaliates, you'll burn his house down. that's you know. You don't have to do the nasty thing, you know. But it is what it is. It will all sort itself out in the end. It will all sort itself out in the end. You know, that's there's a it's not, you know, I think I feel for the world because we're in a weird place, and anyone who deems to be anything other than protectionism is deemed as liberal and last and the problem with the world. And I think the world's gone mad because unless you're running around screaming about how everyone's screwing you, you're too liberal, and it's just madness. But it will sort itself out, just like everything sorted itself out years ago, 1940s to 1945. Everything will sort itself out again. It might take a few years. You know, I love the American people. I love my friends in America. I worry for some people when you hear things like some of the stuff you hear and you just think that's not reality. I think the people need to get out the bubble. I think, Lon, you're worried about something that's not the problem. A tariff has never been the problem. A tariff is not a tax. A tariff is not the problem. There is no amount of tariffs that will make people in the UK buy American cars. They're not suitable for the market. Make a product that's suitable for the market, and then the product will be sold. It's about the product, not the tax or the tariff. That's the problem. Fix the product, make the product what people want. You're not seeing the cars that are suitable because of the tariffs. There aren't any. Show me an American car that is the equivalent made by... Ford is still an American brand and a big part of the UK. So it's bullshit that American cars aren't in the UK. Ford, GM owned Vauxhall. They sold them. It's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. My Hammer gives no problems in the UK. Yeah, most American cars are too big for most UK roads. There's an entire world up there. I think the bubble will burst eventually. If you make the right product, it sells. It's that simple. It's about the product. There's no politics stopping anyone buying American products. It's about the product. Make the product. Why are Apple so successful? Because they make the product that people want. It's an American product. So America sells thousands. One of the largest smartphone makers in the world. Laptops, Dell, HP, all the biggest laptops. Let's not pretend the US is sitting there with no industries. Every CPU is American owned. Pretty much every CPU that exists is American IP. Name a UK phone brand. We don't make phones in the UK. We don't make phones in the UK. We've not made phones. We've never made mobiles as far as I'm aware. AMD, Intel, Qualcomm. It's all American. BlackBerry, it doesn't exist now, does it? I didn't think BlackBerry was UK. I thought BlackBerry was American. Were they British, BlackBerry? ARM is a British brand. The product. Make the product. Make the problem. Make the product. What England makes. We made most of the world at one point. But these days, we less so. But yes, it's about the product. Jumping up and down like a petulant child because people aren't buying the product is not the answer. And everyone will see it in the end. And yeah. And here's what's dangerous. Be careful showing people what else is out there, because once you do, they may not go back. And that was my case for Apple. I will never buy. I intend to never buy. I'm not saying I won't. Perhaps if they actually do something interesting. Well, it's owned by SoftBank arm now, isn't it, largely, so I'm not sure it's British anymore. Yeah, look, it will sort itself out. Free speech is an interesting word these days, Lon, because it's only free speech if it suits the people who want to hear it. And that we're really starting to see. But anyways, time to leave that one there. Look after yourself. Stay safe. We will be back again, same time, same place next week. And I will speak to you soon.